What do the Super Soaker, Tigers, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and Rockets have in common? Alabama. There are 10 questions in this Alabama quiz stream episode. Stay tuned because there's a bonus question at the end for you to answer in the comments. Let's get started.
Question 1.
The Super Soaker is a household name that has generated more than $1 billion in total sales. But what was it originally called? In 1982, Air Force and NASA engineer Lonnie Johnson conceived the idea of a pressurized water gun after shooting a powerful stream of water in his bathroom while performing experiments for a new type of refrigeration system.
Turned the water on and was watching what was happening and just kind of turned and shot the stream of water across the bathroom into the bathtub. And I thought to myself, this would make a really neat water gun.
Johnson decided to shift his focus from his current scientific career at NASA to the Super Soaker because the Super Soaker could potentially create enough funding for his own research goals. Several months later, he built a prototype in his basement. Johnson originally wanted to produce the toy himself, but realized that the costs were out of his reach. He attempted to arrange partnerships with toy companies to bring the toy product to market, but it was not until 1989 that he found success with the toy company Lamari at a toy fair. Johnson then went home and built an improved prototype and made a trip to their headquarters in Philadelphia where he made a successful sales pitch. The first commercial version of the water gun appeared in stores the following year as the, wait for it, Power Drencher. In 1991, it achieved commercial success under its new name, Super Soaker. The revenue that he received from the Super Soaker licensing provided enough money for him to create the Johnson Research and Development Company. So, what makes the Super Soaker better than other water guns? The constant pressure system is the most powerful system used by the Super Soaker. The user pumps water from the reservoir into a rubber bladder, which expands as more water is forced into it. The stretch rubber exerts a constant pressure on the water, giving the blaster a thick and constant stream throughout the entire shot. In most older models, the resulting blast is forceful enough that a recoil can be felt.
Question 2.
What's the name of this Alabama-born American musician? He was born March 17, 1919 in Montgomery, Alabama. He's an American musician hailed as one of the best and most influential pianists and small group leaders of the swing era. But it was as a vocalist specializing in warm ballads and light swing that he attained his greatest commercial success. In 1937, he formed a trio with guitarists Oscar Moore and Wesley Prince. The trio specialized in swing music with a delicate touch in that they did not employ a drummer. Also unique were the voicings of the piano and guitar, often juxtaposed to sound just like a single instrument. An influence on jazz pianist Oscar Peterson, he was known for a compact piano style with clean, spare melodic phrases. Eventually, his piano playing took back seat to his singing career. Noted for his warm tone and flawless phrasing, he was regarded as among the top vocalists of the era. His first recorded a full orchestra in 1946, The Christmas Song, a holiday standard and one of his biggest selling records. By the 1950s, he worked almost exclusively as a singer on hits like Nature Boy, Mona Lisa, Too Young, A Blossom Fell, and Unforgettable. He performed in films Istanbul, China Gate, Night of the Quarter Moon, and Cat Ballou. His popularity allowed him to become the first African American to host a network variety program which debuted on NBC television in 1956. The show was named in honor of his stage name. And if you haven't guessed by now, he's Nathaniel Adams Cole, otherwise known as Nat King Cole. In which U.S. city was the first Mardi Gras celebration in North America? Mardi Gras is French for Fat Tuesday, reflecting the practice of eating richer, fatty foods the last night before the ritual fasting of the Lenten season. The oldest carnival celebration in the United States was started by Frenchman Nicolas Langlois in 1703 in Mobile, Alabama. At the time, Mobile was the capital of French Louisiana. This was 15 years before New Orleans was founded, although today their celebrations are much more widely known. This is because all the current traditions such as masks, balls, parades, floats, and throws were first created there. The festival began as a French Catholic tradition, but Mardi Gras in Mobile has now evolved into a mainstream multi-week celebration across the spectrum of cultures. Who did the United States Congress call the First Lady of Civil Rights and the Mother of the Freedom Movement? On December 1st, 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, she refused to obey a bus driver's order to give up her seat in the colored section to a white passenger after the whites-only section was filled. She helped spark a movement and inspired the black community to boycott the Montgomery buses for over a year, the first major direct action campaign of the post-war civil rights movement. Her act of defiance and the Montgomery bus boycott became important symbols of the civil rights movement. She became an international icon of resistance to racial segregation. She organized and collaborated with civil rights leaders, including Martin Luther King Jr. She was Rosa Parks. What is the real-life name of this vessel which was featured in the films The Pirates of the Caribbean? In the films, it was originally a merchant ship named Wicked Winch, but its crew later fell to piracy under the command of an unnamed captain who was killed during a battle with Spanish Royal Navy Captain Armando Salazar. The helmsman, Jack Sparrow, was granted captaincy of the Wicked Winch after outmaneuvering Salazar and saving the crew during the battle. A dying Jack Sparrow struck a bargain with Davy Jones for his soul and 100 years of serving aboard the Flying Dutchman in return for a continued human existence and 13 years as captain, plus saving the Wicked Winch. Jones agreed and raised the ship from the sea floor, now newly christened as the Black Pearl, an all-black vessel with an angel figurehead. She was transformed into the fastest, most dangerous pirate ship sailing the seven seas. In the first film, the Black Pearl was a steel barge with wooden structures built atop to resemble a real ship. For the second and third movies, a floating sailing ship was actually built in the shipyards at Bayou La Battery in Alabama on the hull of a cargo ship. This cargo ship was called the Sunset. True or false? There is a tree in Alabama that owns itself.
Not to be mistaken with the other tree that owns itself in Athens, Georgia, the self-owning tree in Eufaula, Alabama, often called the Walker Oak, sits proudly independent in the middle of town with a fitting declaration on its plaque: "Only God can make a tree." In 1935, in the small town of Eufaula, the president of the local garden club petitioned the mayor and city council to help her in ensuring the protection of the beloved city tree. The 65-foot-tall, wide-post oak, which grew near the center of town, was a landmark for the city and a favorite place for children to play. A deed of sentiment was granted and recorded by Mayor E.H. Graves, who stated that the tree was a creation and gift of the Almighty, standing in our midst, to itself, to have and to hold itself, its branches, limbs, trunks, and roots, so long it shall live. An iron fence was erected around the tree, and a plaque was installed to inform visitors.
Nonetheless, for other reasons, this one is false. Such a deed, even if it did exist, would have no legal standing. Under common law, a person receiving property must have the legal capacity to receive it, and the property must be delivered to and accepted by the recipient. True or false? There are over 90 predator cats, such as tigers, mountain lions, African lions, and black leopards living at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in Alabama. Believe it or not, this one is true. Tigers for Tomorrow at Untamed Mountain is a nonprofit wild animal preserve and environmental education center, home to over 160 animals, including tigers, mountain lions, African lions, bears, wolves, black leopards, and so many more wonderful animals. As a last stop preserve, the animals that come to live at Tigers for Tomorrow remain there for the rest of their lives. They are located in Alabama at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in the area now called Untamed Mountain. It's open to the public as a premier wild animal park and preserve, and a family recreational destination. They provide environmental, educational programming to the community and tourists of North Alabama. The mission of Tigers for Tomorrow is to uphold the highest standards of care and respect for the native and exotic animals in need of a secure and permanent home. Their goal is to bridge the gap between humans and animals through education, preservation, and conservation. So, if you find yourself in northern Alabama, be sure to check them out. In which Alabama city was the first rocket made that put a U.S. satellite into orbit? The Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama was activated on July 1st, 1960 as nearly 5,000 Army civil servants became NASA personnel, and the U.S. Army Ballistic Missile Agency transferred 2,000 acres of arsenal land along with buildings, space projects, and equipment. President Dwight Eisenhower dedicated the center on September 8, 1960. This photo shows Vanna von Braun, Marshall's first center director, viewing a model of the Saturn IB as he and Eisenhower toured the Marshall Center. Eisenhower named the center in honor of General George Marshall, the Army Secretary of Staff during World War II, Secretary of State, and Nobel Prize winner for his world-renowned Marshall Plan. A member of the Redstone family of rockets, the Jupiter C was developed by the Army Ballistic Missile Agency at Redstone Arsenal under the direction of Major General John Medeiros and Vanna von Braun. The Jupiter C was later reconfigured into the Mercury Redstone launch vehicle, which launched the first 2 American manned space flights and the Saturn V rocket that propelled the Apollo 11 and its astronauts to the moon. The rocket that put the first U.S. satellite in space was made in Huntsville, Alabama. Fun fact: visitors to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville often honor a monkey knot by leaving bananas on her memorial. Miss Baker was a squirrel monkey, one of a pair of monkeys that were the first animals to be launched into space and recovered alive. For which film did Octavia Spencer receive the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress? Octavia Lenore Spencer was born in Montgomery, Alabama on May 25, 1972. She is an actress and an author and the recipient of several accolades, including an Academy Award, a British Academy Film Award, and a Golden Globe. She made her film debut in the 1996 drama A Time to Kill. But before that, she studied at Auburn University at Montgomery, where she majored in English with a double minor in journalism and theater. As an author, Spencer has started a children's book series titled Randy Rhodes, Ninja Detective. She has published 2 books in the series. She played a role in dozens of films from Being John Malkovich to The Shape of Water. But it was for her role in The Help that she received the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. How many pieces of bubble gum were used to blow the biggest bubblegum bubble on record? Chad Fell of the United States blew a bubblegum bubble with a diameter of 20 inches without using his hands at the Double Springs High School in Winston County, Alabama in April of 2004. The secret to his success, says Chad, was blowing the bubble using 3 pieces of double bubble gum. If you would like to compete against other quiz streamers on our live show, answer this question in the comments. What do you associate with Alabama? Also, feel free to share any cool facts you think we should have covered. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Last but not least, share this video with anyone who you think might enjoy it. Thanks for watching QuizStream.